Stop hating yourself for missing practice, seriously, because that shame spiral, the I'm lazy, I'm falling behind, I'll never get back talk, is the real thing that's killing your progress, not the missed session itself. Adult life is heavy: work, family, stress, exhaustion. And your base routine doesn't break because you don't care. It breaks because your system can't survive real life. And if you've been stuck in that loop, I understand. You're not broken. You're just running an approach that punishes you instead of supporting you. Today, I want to help you fix this. How to get honest about what you want, reclaim time without pretending you don't have more of it, and install a practice routine that still works on messy weeks, so you can improve without hating yourself in the process. Fellow sufferer, welcome to podcast number 11, and what's up? I hope you're well. I hope you're fine considering everything that's happening in the world right now. Hope you're having a fantastic week. Actually, I'm having a fantastic week so far. Well, actually, I thought I had yesterday. This podcast actually is the second time I'm recording this, because I recorded it the first time yesterday, and after I talked for half an hour, I noticed that I didn't record it audio and I was only talking to the camera. That was really a bummer. The audio quality was so bad, so I figured, no, I really have to do this again. And it was a shame actually, because I felt yesterday it was the first time that I spoke a bit more fluidly, with less ams and it's so hard for me to speak freely in English. I'm still not so fast in translating all these words that are in my mind, and I don't have all the vocabulary. And yesterday it worked fine, and then I didn't record the audio. But other than that, I'm in a pretty good routine. My days really work well if I start practicing bass in the morning and go to the gym. And that's what I did yesterday and today. Today is Tuesday as I'm recording this. So I'm pretty fine. And today I want to implement something new into the podcast. And this is naming my album of the week. And my album of the week for today, for this week, is the album Anti-Hero by the band Kneebody. I love this album. I love this band. I came across them, I think, because of the song Drum Battle. I think it maybe is one of the more famous one of them. And yeah, it's amazing. I really like that style of fusion playing. The saxophone player, Ben Wendell, his playing is so amazing. He appears, for example, with Loose Cole stuff, and he does a solo on Drum Battle that I really love. So intensive, and I love it. And the drummer, Nate Wood, awesome drum machine. It's really great album. And I recommend that for you, for listening, get inspired and get some really nice music to your ears. If you want to let me know what your album of the week is, let me know in the comments, and I'm really curious to hear about it. So stop hating yourself for missing practice. For today, I thought about 7 bullet points I want to talk to you about in order for you to make you feel better. I hope I can make you feel better. And that's what I want to talk about today. So let's get right into it. If you like content like this, then join my Next Level Letter, my free weekly newsletter with brief micro lessons on jazz harmony, technique, practice hacks, and mindset. It's for bass players who want to reach a professional level, and for working pros who want to maintain and improve their abilities. Go right here. First of all, let's get that straight. I totally understand life as an adult is heavy. We have work, we have family, we have friends, and with all the things that are in our schedule on a weekly basis, there comes fatigue, there comes mental overload, and bass usually or sometimes can get pushed to later. and that later never comes. And this is a common problem we all face as adults, I guess, whether you are a professional player or you're not a professional player. Even as a professional player, which I've been for almost 20 years, it's not easy to dedicate to practice all day. Yeah, because life gets in the way. And at least as a professional, you kind of have the duty to practice or exercise specific things in order to execute them with bands, with gigs or so, which you maybe don't have if you're not a professional player. But for a lot of times in my life, it happens that I didn't have the time to practice, and I think it can come the same if you're not a professional player. Professional being in the sense of making money with it. So I totally get this, and yeah, I think there's a way out of it. Let's talk about why progress sometimes dies. This is my first point I want to address today, and in why progress dies. And here I think about two things, and these are motivation and approach. And you can ask yourself what your motivation is. What is your motivation for being better on the bass guitar? I mean, I figure you want to get better at the bass guitar since you're watching this video, since you are part of this channel, which is about improving and progress. But sometimes it's not clear, why are you doing this? Are you doing it for you? Do you want to improve as a bass player, or are you doing it for someone else? Are you doing it for your band? Are you doing it to impress other people? Are you want to get girls or guys? Who knows? When I was a teenager, I started music also. I thought I could get girls more easily when I play music. Over the years, I figured that not really happens, at least not for a small 170 centimeters. I don't know how much in a foot that is, and like 65 kilogram small person like me, thin. That would not happen. At least that is my experience. But for whom are you doing this, or for whom do you want to get better? I myself was always fascinated in bass playing, and especially in musicians and bands that try to take the instrument or the instruments to the limit and to the next level. It always fascinated me. And that are these people that think and talk negative about players, especially bass players who play fast. And I really think that is mean and that is wrong, because saxophone players play fast, guitar players play fast, drummers play fast. But if a bass player plays fast, I so often hear like, well, that's noodling, or that's just show off, and that's not music. Or I guess that kind of things. But anyway, yeah, and I'm really fascinated in getting the most out of the instrument, and that was actually my motivation all over the years. It still is. I want to get as good as I can get. Since years I see that like a little like it's like a top of the mountain. I don't know the English word that I want to reach. Like a little. Yeah, it's a leap that I want to take until I feel comfortable, and after that everything is a bonus, And I'm really motivated and empowered to get there. And yeah, I just like practicing, and I like improving. So I'm very fascinated about this topic, learning new things, and I could listen to new music all the time. So that's my motivation. What is your motivation? Ask yourself that. Why do you do it? Why do you want to get better? And what is your approach? You know, maybe you take the wrong approach in getting better if you don't get better, or if you don't get to practice more often or on a regular basis. I don't think this is necessarily a character flaw. I rather think it's a system problem. And again, I really understand the matter of fact of what life throws at you as an adult on a daily basis. I really get that. And I understand how hard it is to comp, you know, when you, I see parents that as soon as the kid or the kids are in bed at like 8 p.m. or 9 p.m., they go to the couch and maybe last for 15 minutes and collapse to sleep. So I really wonder where parents get their energy through the day, even with having a full-time job. And you know, there are other commitments like doing exercise, for example, which is very important. So it's really, really hard. I get that. It's hard. But I believe that with some smart and small adjustments, you really can make a difference in your system and in achieving your goals more efficiently. And with that, I want to ask you to make an honesty check with yourself. How important is base improvement really to you? Do you want to improve? Or is this just a nice idea? Why do you want to improve? I'm a bit confused with my notes here. Why do you want to improve? And is this really important for you? And how important is it for you? This is, as simple as that. Simple question, but I can answer this for myself. I know bass playing still is one of the most important things to me. It haven't been so always. I had like a pause, or like I lost my muse, you know, after I was finished with my jazz study. That was in 2012. I finished in December of 2011. In 2012, I was done. I studied double bass and electric bass, but double bass mainly, which I don't play anymore. But after these years, I was really saturated with everything, with music. You know, I worked my ass off. I was in a relationship. I had a dog. And I was very sick. I had severe neurodermatitis. That is not a skin illness, but it has skin symptoms. So imagine myself 80% of my skin being inflamed. I said I was looking like a pizza. I was looking horrible, inflamed all over the body, and I was really not well, and I really suffered, and did psychotherapy, lots of things. And it didn't get better. And I was so busy with like coping with life, with this sickness, and with my relationship at the time that was suffering also due to my illness, that I didn't had no muse for bass playing. I was playing, I had lots of jobs, but in a way I was saturated. So then I got my muse again, so that was lucky. In 2017, 18, around that time, I got better, and I think in 2020 I got my muse back again, right, with COVID, when COVID hit, actually. So about every time of my life I wanted to improve. So this never changed. So how is it with you? Do you really want to change your playing? And I think this is an important question to ask for yourself. And it's a deep question, actually. How important is it compared to other things? I can answer this question. Again, for myself, it's more important for me than other things, so it has a high priority. So what I want to ask you as a third point is to check your time reality. And I want to ask you, where does your week actually go? How do you spend your time? What are you doing Monday to Sunday? Okay, there's work, probably. Probably you have families, you have friends, going out to the gym. How long do you spend time scrolling on social media? Honestly, how long do you scroll there? How much time do you spend on Netflix? How much time do you spend playing video games? Watching television? Watching YouTube? Just asking. No, do no judging. I'm not doing judging myself, don't get me wrong. Just make a reality time check. How much time do you spend? So I guess by today it already crossed your mind that we humans in this day and age are pretty much distracted by social media and everything else. And how have you ever asked yourself how much time you spend with that? I mean, it's nothing wrong with watching Netflix, playing video games. I'd love to play video games again. I'd really love to do that. Sometimes I watch playthroughs of games, but I don't have the time or energy left to do it because other things are more important to me, so I don't play at the time. And sometimes I watch Netflix. Within the last month, I did it like maybe 1 hour an evening after working, something like that. But let's say you make a time check and you see that you spend around 5 hours on Netflix a week. Or you can check your screen time, can do it right now on your iPhone. Check your screen time, how much did you spend with social media? I mean, this is, you can have a good time at social media. I don't have any social media. I had Instagram for a few weeks because when I met Hadrian Farad for the first or for the second time, I think for the second time, I asked if I could contact him, and I told him that I don't have Instagram, but the day after I installed Instagram to get in contact with him. And he answered me a couple of times actually, which was pretty nice. But anyway, I don't have social media, so I know that it can be a lot of fun. And during that time, I think I spent like two evenings, 3 hours, 3 hours lying on my couch here, just laughing. And it was quite fun. And I really could see that this can take a lot of time. So, but back to the point. If you check how much time you spend with these things that are nice distraction or nice for chilling and relaxing, which is really important. But when you analyze the time you spend with that, you can be honest to yourself and ask if maybe instead of doing 5 hours Netflix a week, maybe 2 can do. And you spend 3 hours practicing bass, for example. If you do something new in your life, it's always a time trade. I come back to this later, but when you check your time and where you spend your time, where does it goes, I want to ask you the next question. Do a not a time question, but do a value question. So when you think of the time you spend on Netflix, social media, whatever, doesn't matter what it is, you can ask yourself, how important is Netflix to you? How important is social media to you? The time you spend there, and ask yourself that. Maybe it is important for you. Maybe you say you need Netflix to calm down after long days, to relax. Maybe you need video games. That's totally okay. Again, no judging here. I'm just trying to share my thoughts, and I want to activate your thoughts on that. But ask yourself, how important is that to you? Just like you ask yourself how important bass playing is to you a few minutes before, How important is that for you? And could you imagine trading some of that time for something else? Going to the gym, for example, or playing bass, practicing bass to improve. So when you spend so much time, or when you spend that time that you figured out on these devices or on different things, what are you trading away without noticing? I mean, it's no offense. We all can get stuck in these established routines, like sitting down every evening, having a beer or two, and watching YouTube for 2 hours. This just is established so quickly, and sometimes you don't notice that. But if you make yourself aware of it, it's not so hard to change that, and that's what I was talking about earlier with small adjustments, reflection. I'm a real big fan of reflection of yourself. I'm doing reflection a lot because it always helps me to see what's going on, and with myself, with my time, and helps me to compare if what I'm doing aligns with my goals or what I want to do. I have lots of goals in my life. I'm close to ADHS. I don't have ADHS. I'm hyperactive actually, but I don't have ADHS. But I noticed early on that if I don't make very rigid plans for things that I do, like practice routines and stuff, I don't get anything done. So that's why I value these routines so much. And I notice how they help me get better and achieving my goals. So can you with these small adjustments and making yourself aware of what are you doing and how you spend your time, you can implement small adjustments and they can make a big difference. Yeah, and here I come to point, I think I mixed up numbers, point 5. And I call this trade time, don't find it, because if you want to implement something new into your life, you're not gonna have more time for it all of a sudden. This is just not how things work, and you know that. If you want to do something new in your life, you have to cut something else out. It's pretty simple. We have 24 hours a day. We sleep 6 to 8 hours. We work 6 to 12 hours. We have family care, friends. We have to eat. We have to go shopping. Lots of things. We have a limited amount of time, and if you want to start something new and say, this year is different, I'm going to do something new, it just not comes by itself. You have to make time in your schedule. You have to cut something else out, and that's why I asked you these 2 questions. how important is bass playing for you, and how important is that certain amount of hours you spend with these other things. Because if you really want to play bass, if you want to improve bass on bass, and if you do spend 5 hours or more for this or that, you can think of cutting away something from these hours and give it over here to the bass. It's as simple as that. You give bass a dedicated time slot, so it's not just wishful thinking. And this really, really works. It just works. So what's important to you? What is less important to you? Make changes, make time, make space in your schedule. Point 6, excuse me. And this is something that helps me a lot. How about your motivation? And I want you to picture yourself. Let's say you start a new practice schedule for bass, one that you are thinking of for some time now, but you didn't actually implemented it into your daily life. Imagine yourself, picture yourself doing that by tomorrow on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, depending on your routine schedule. Picture yourself 4 weeks from now, or 4 months from now, or 1 year from now. How are you going to sound if you keep doing that schedule? Let's say 3 times a week, 3 hours each session, that you practice 3 hours a week. That's a lot. A lot you can accomplish by doing that. Within 4 weeks, it's nice. Within 4 months, wow. Within a year, it's a game changer. And picture yourself not only how you would sound or what things you would be able to do compared to what you are able to do right now. There are always certain things that you cannot do on your instrument right now. It's the same with me. I have my practice schedule for improving on things that I find myself not so good at or where I want to improve on. So imagine yourself, picture yourself, how you sound. And more than that, picture yourself how you would feel if you are all of a sudden after 4 weeks, 4 months, 12 months, able to do things you couldn't do before on your instrument. Imagine yourself stepping into the band rehearsal. It doesn't matter if you're doing improvisational music or not. Even if you're doing top 40 music, if you improve on your instrument, your bandmates will notice at some point. You maybe heard me saying that I find musicians a lot of the time are pretty focused on themselves. So I found lots of the time people don't noticing on average if someone improves or changes his playing. But there will be a point that people will notice. Maybe not all of your bandmates, but maybe one of them, or the people in the audience will notice that, or friends, or you will notice that. Way more important. To me, I don't care so much if other people give me compliments if I'm honest. It's nice, I like that, but I am my biggest judge. I want to please myself, because I have an image of what makes a good player. If this is helpful, then get my next level letter. Free weekly micro lessons you can actually use. Jazz harmony, technique, practice hacks, and mindset. built for players aiming for professional level and for professionals who want to stay sharp and keep improving. Go right here. And with that image, I can tell if what I'm playing is good or whatnot, you know. And when I'm sitting here doing tutorials for you, and I'm listening back to the examples I play, most of the time I don't like what I did. And part of the YouTube thing is really about acceptance, because I have to put what I play out there in the world, and then it's there. You see that, and what you see is what I am in that moment, or maybe not, you know. And I try to pick the best takes, but most of the time I don't like it very much. So doing this YouTube has to do a lot with acceptance of putting something imperfect out there. But once in a while, or sometimes, I like what I do, or I like phrases that I played. And or for example, the video I'm working on right now, the tutorial, which will be online in a week at the latest, there were takes that I thought, well, that's really nice. I can hear that I practiced for 2 weeks now. So that is, and this is something that makes me happy. Not if someone else tells me or so, it's I'm doing this for myself. And this is what motivates me. Imagine yourself 4 weeks, 4 months, or 1 year from now playing 10 to 30% better than you do today. Imagine that. That is so powerful. And it gives me the power, the energy to go through that practicing struggle. But I gotta admit that I like practicing a lot. Okay, fellow sufferer, I want to get to the last point, and I like that actually very much, because I wanted to talk about that for a long time to anyone, and I really like bass practice to be compared to exercising in a gym. And I want to ask you, what kind of practitioner are you? What kind of bassist are you right now? What kind of practitioner? Would you say I play a bit? Would you say I practice to improve? Or would you say I really practice efficiently? I go to the gym 4 to 5 times a week since half a year. Before I was like 3 to 4 times. I added a day for making more cardio. And when I go to the gym, I notice 3 kind of people going there. I noticed the people, I think there are people that go to the gym. And I think there are people who go to the gym to train. And I notice there are people that go to the gym to train correctly or efficiently. Most of the people I see there, I'm in a big gym. I'm going in the morning, so it's not filled up, but I see a lot of people there. Most of the people are scrolling their phones all the time. They're sitting at machines and they're scrolling their WhatsApp messages or their Instagram feed. And I don't get it. Lots of the time, every day actually, you know, I'm on a machine beside them, and I watch them scrolling in between their sets, and I'm sometimes doing 3 sets, 4 sets actually, because I do a lot of warm-ups, and they have done only 1 set, you know, because they're scrolling all the times, and I really don't get that. Why do you go to the gym? I mean, this is doing exercise and doing sport. I really don't get why people are scrolling so much. I mean, if you do a break between a set, I think you're supposed to be focused on the break, you know, stay with your mind in the exercise. Well, what I do, I walk around all the time. My gym is very narrow and very long, so I can walk lots of meters. And when I go out of my gym, I did at least, I think I did like 3,000 steps or so. And so I'm going to, because walking is exercising too, actually, you know. And if you do 1 to 3 minutes breaks between the sets, I think you should be focused and with the exercise and not going in and checking Instagram. So what is this? I'm sorry, I don't get people. If I want to do something, if I'm doing something, I want to do it right. At least I'm putting in the effort to do it right. So, and there are other people who really train, but they don't train so efficiently, or I mean, in the gym, lots of them are doing the exercises wrong. You know about that. You know, like just doing the exercises wrong. And okay, we all started at some point, but also with this, you have to be reflective and check on everything you do. So you have to be aware of what you do. So there are these people who are going to the gym to train, but there are also the people who are going to the gym to train efficiently and correctly. And I'm considering myself one of that people. And I'm the same with practicing bass. As we don't have so much time as adults to practice, I think we should treat every minute we have to practice or to train as the most important, and to get the best bang for your buck. You know, in the gym, also a nice analogy. In the gym, we have compound exercises and we have isolated exercises. So, you know, if you do weight training with bars and weights, you have these two kinds of exercises: compound exercise and isolated exercises. And isolated exercises isolates one muscle, maybe two. And biceps curls, for example, is a typical isolated movement because it only trains my biceps, maybe a bit of my forearm. But for example, if you do a lat pull, a pull up, or some row movements, you have a compound movement where the main muscles who are activated are the muscles on your back, and you also train part of your shoulders, maybe part of your body core, maybe part of your biceps. Same as with push exercises. You know, if you do bench pressing, you train your shoulders, you train your triceps, you do more than one muscles. And you can do the same with practicing bass. And this is exactly what I'm trying to do. You can build your exercises smart in a way that you train more than one thing. For example, if you practice arpeggios, I told about my new practice routine last week. And a way that I'm doing this is, for example, that I'm playing with my looper. I bought a looper last year so I can take them to formats here on YouTube, so I could show you things and have like a backing sound or something. But I never did this. I have to train this. And when I practice right now, I usually put in a root note groove and put some chords over there. And I have to take care that I do a good, that I have a good time, of course. So I'm in that the timing is right. So the loop is not like, I don't know how we say it in English. And and make a good take, actually. You know, I can try to make a really good groove that sounds nice and that is musical. I try to do a cycle of like 2 or 4 bars that I don't do a very short sample. I would rather do a long sample, so I really have to play and stay in time. Then I put some chords over them, and then I actually start the practice, the exercise. And this, for example, would be arpeggios, and then I can go that when I want to practice arpeggio in a specific way across the fretboard, more than 2 notes a string, for example, I can determine a subdivision. I could say I play this now in triplets. I play this now in 16th notes, or in 8th notes, in triplet 8th notes, or in quintuplets, for example. So there I have another parameter I can add. I could also put in a different technique on the right hand, actually. This is just a quick example. I can do a lot of things, and I can really put on compound exercises in my bass playing. And I try to be really focused. I rotate my topics within my routine, so I really get the best bang for my buck and train the most I can do. And yeah, just spend every minute I have really focused. Okay, guys, wow, I talked a lot. Let me summarize the points I had. So first, get your motivation and your approach straight and check how you're doing it. Second, do an honesty check. How important is bass improvement really for you? Third, do a time reality check. How do you spend your week? What are you doing with your time? Fourth, make the value question. How important is it for you that you spend so much time with things like Netflix or social media? Be aware, number 5, that in order to improve your bass practice or put a bass practice to start, that you have to trade time. You have to make space in your schedule. The time doesn't come from nothing. You have to make time. You have to trade time. 6th, picture yourself. How are you going to sound a few weeks or months from now, and how will you feel by being that person who sounded that much better? Imagine 10 to 30% better you will sound if you start practicing. That's realistic. And the last question, ask yourself, what kind of practitioner are you? Are you really practicing efficiently and correctly when you're practicing? All right, that's it for today. I hope that was helpful. Please consider like and subscribe if you like that content. That helps me a lot with the algorithm. So thanks again for tuning in. I hope you have a great week, and if you want, we can see each other next time. Thanks for watching, fellow sufferer. Have a good one. See you next time. And yeah, bye.